So I've been looking into some memory issues with my game where they're allocating too much on the heap and it was causing hitching about every second. And while I've taken most of that out, I wanted to show a very somewhat surprising place that was gaining a lot of allocations and causing some garbage collection. So I'm going to go ahead and quit out of this and go over to Writer. And we're going to go into the memory profiler, and you don't need the memory profiler to take care of these issues. It does help, but I'm going to show you this and you'll be able to take care of this on your own without the memory profiler. But let's go ahead and jump into it. And let's go ahead and get into the main scene. And now we'll jump over to this profiler. And I'm going to say force garbage collection and get snapshot so that we can get a snapshot of when the allocations are low. And now we'll let that build up for just a few seconds and then get another snapshot. And we can kill the game. And I'm going to select both of these snapshots and then we're going to compare them so that we can see what is the difference between early on and then a little bit later. And so let's go from the top. And if we look here, it says camera controller. So we know that that is where most of our heap allocations are coming from. And it's an update free camera movement, get input vector, and then we see this right here. This says op implicit, that it's converting a string to a string name. So that's what we want to look for, is string name and where a string is getting converted to that in the get input vector method. So let's just jump right over here. And here's our get input vector method. And if we look here, I'm passing in some strings. And if we hover over this, we see it expects string name. So essentially what's happening, because it's an implicit conversion, behind the scenes what it's actually doing is this. And it's doing this for each of these input names. And it's doing this every frame over and over and over and over again. So there's a whole bunch of these allocations just being added to the heap until it has to garbage collect them. So this is a pretty easy fix. All we have to do is, in this case, is cache just cache these names. So let's go ahead and write equals right, and I should probably just copy paste these, just make it a little bit faster. Down, up, up, forward, forward, back, back. And then we just need to replace each of these. And down, up. Actually, I don't know why I just didn't do that before. Forward and back. And so what we're doing is we are caching these and then just using these values every single time, so it doesn't create any new string names. So let's go ahead and run that again. And go here. Let's do basically the same thing. Force garbage collection. Get snapshot. Wait a few seconds. And you can already notice that it's not crawling up as quickly. There's obviously still some issues, but this is the only one we're going to actually look at. Let's go ahead and kill that. Add to comparison, and then do the same thing. View memory allocations. Again, go to the call tree, and what do we notice? Camera controller's not at the top anymore. So now we would have to deal with this, which we're not going to in this video. So another thing I wanted to show was that if I were to be using this input.getAxis anywhere other than this method, which in this case I don't, what I would do is I would wrap these method calls, and I actually did this with the rest of the inputs. So I have this input manager, and I've wrapped is action just pressed, is action just released, is any action just pressed, etc. And instead of passing the string directly into is action just pressed, I actually call another method. And what this method does, I'll show you in a second. So I have this action map up here, and it's just a dictionary that maps the string that I pass in here to a string name that has already been created. And if it hasn't already been created, then we create it and put it in this dictionary. So let's go ahead and look in get action. So again, I pass that string into it, and then if it can't get the value and assign it to this action name, it will take this action. It will again implicitly create a new string name and put it in action name, and then it'll put action name into this action map, and then it will return the action name. And so the next time it runs through that input, it'll look here and it will find it in the action map. So it will skip these and it'll just return the action name. And that way there are no more allocations. So again, I would wrap this in something like this if I were to use it in more places, just to make my life easier. But since this is the only place that I am using this, I'm not going to do that right now. Anyway, if you'd like to, I have a game up on Steam. It's called Roboggled. I made it a while ago. It's a fun little Sokoban game. It is pretty cheap, and it'll only take about an hour of your time to get through. I tried to make sure that it was short. I know a lot of people have very little time these days. So anyway, that link will be in the description below, and don't forget to like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want more tutorial videos like this in the future. So anyway, hope you have a great day. Bye.